So we're back for the next video in which we will paper the exterior of the box, which is the next step after having prepared the edges to get this ready to go. After papering the exterior, we will then do the lining, which will be the next video after this. So the top I do a little oddly. In fairness, I apply the glue directly to the box lid. This is the only time you'll see me do this. Normally I would apply the glue directly to the paper, but this is the easiest way I have found to do the lid for reasons which you will see shortly. So I am just globbing plenty of Yes paste on with my little craft spatula. Try and stop my bracelets jangling. And then I am smoothing it out and getting full coverage all over this lid. So I've smoothed it out by working the spatula in two directions, horizontally this way and then vertically this way. Sorry, didn't get enough sleep last night, it would seem. And now that I've got the lid of the box all glued and a pretty even application here, I am going to invert it and place it on, let's just adjust the camera here a little bit, and place it on the paper here, leaving enough space on these sides for it to roll over. So this is linked in the description. This is German Ingres paper in white, which I purchased from Hollanders, and a link to purchase this is in the description. This is paper that is a little more lightweight than the handmade laid paper that Trisha produced for the Cabinet of Curiosities historic casket reproductions, but it is still perfectly adequate for backing anything that doesn't have a lot of bulk on the back. So cross stitch, surface embroidery that doesn't have wires, stump work, etc. Anything that doesn't need a ton of thickness in the paper to absorb bulk on the back. Ingres paper is readily available, which makes it a great choice for this purpose. Now, I have recommended 4 sheets of paper for the backing of the embroidery and for the papering of the box. All of this, again, is in the description. But when I was messing around with the paper, I ignored my own cardinal rule, which is to cut your biggest pieces out first and to be careful about how you cut your paper so that you get the most efficient use of your material. And I cut too much paper out of the cream Ingres paper, which we'll see in a few videos, when I was doing test backing on my linen, which left me without enough cream paper to paper the box exterior and to back the linen. So I am splitting the difference, and I have 2 sheets of white with which I am papering the exterior of the box, and then 2 sheets of cream which I will use to back the linen. You can go either or depending on what you like about the Russian tea cake and what you want to play up about it. The white will whiten out the Russian tea cake. The cream will make it richer in color. So you'll get to see both as we move through these videos. Now, I've got the lid glued to a very large piece of paper, which I need to cut down so that I can roll this up to the sides. So I'm gonna measure how deep the sides are. I am then going to just mark off some space, not very well, and get this cut down. Just so that I don't have an unwieldy giant piece of paper to deal with. We're gonna have to cut this down again to make it exactly fit the sides, but I'm taking my scissors and I am just getting a rough cut down here. So now we've got something more workable to deal with here. First thing I'm gonna do is start folding. Front and back. And, okay, so this is a little hard to see on the camera, but I've folded this down and then I'm just going to run my X-Acto knife right around the edge of the box here to get an exact cut on this paper. I'm gonna clip the ends with my scissors. So this gives me an exact fit that's flush with the edge of the box. And then I'm going to repeat that on the other side. Again, flush. And then I am going to fold and cut on the sides as well. So this gives me pieces that fit exactly. And then I am going to fold at the corners so that I know exactly where to cut. Here I've got these meeting, oh, I didn't do a very good job. You can see it's just a little bit of wood showing there. I want these to meet flush in the corner. If I were doing another style of box, I would fold one side under to have these meet perfectly. But with this style, since the lid will be wrapping around, I really don't want any extra bulk in the corners that I can possibly avoid. Because you're going to have added bulk when you lay the paperback embroidery over this. So I'm going to cut all four corners so that they sit flush. The corners have now all been cut to meet flush at the edges, and now I am going to glue down the sides. I've got my silicone mat back out, and I am going to apply glue to the paper on the sides. Smoothing it down as I go to Get a nice even application of glue. Let's see if you can see that. I'm not sure this really picks up very well on the camera, but really want to try and get it fairly even if you can. And then I'm just going to press this up. And smooth it down, which glues the side, which I will now repeat for all 4 sides. I have now glued down all of the sides. That's coming up a little bit, so just make sure to check as you go around that everything is sticking down nicely. And then that gives us a fully papered and prepped lid, which is now ready for the interior, which will be in the next video. And now we will move on to the bottom of the box. So we are going to paper the exterior sides of the box and then leave the bottom until later after the embroidery is on, due to the unusual nature of this box's construction. If you are doing something that's not a wraparound style, you would paper the full exterior, including the bottom, at this time. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut pieces for the sides, which I measure at being just over 4¼ inches high. I am going to want to, like with the linen, wrap this down onto the bottom. So I am going to cut pieces that are 5 inches high to go around the lid. So I've got my X-Acto knife. I'm going to make clean cut here. I have the ruler to go all the way across. And then I'm just going to clean up these raw little bits at the edge of the paper by cutting them off. I've got a clean strip here, and let's see how far this goes. This will not go around all 4 sides, so I'm going to need multiple pieces here. I'm going to overlap that just a little bit on the back. I'm going to go this way instead. So as you see me fitting and folding the paper before it's glued, this is what I call dry fitting. I'm making sure that everything lines up and I'm making all the cuts I need to make before I get the glue on there. So this long strip will cover 2 sides, and then I'm going to cut this down just a little bit to overlap. And then I need to get the bottom piece so that it will glue neatly and you don't have a bunch of bumps. So again, I'm going to cut down and miter these corners. Miter that, cut across there, so that will fit smoothly. And then this corner, I fold these down And then I just clip across so that they'll fit like that. And then here, so this is the first piece, which I'm going to glue on my box. And having cut that down, I am now going to get out my silicone mat for gluing. I am now going to place this face down to get the glue on the correct side and glue the paper. This is one of the reasons why I really recommend doing your box preparation first thing, because it allows you to get very comfortable with gluing. As you can see, I am really just swiping this stuff on very quickly, because at this point, having done this for multiple boxes, I am pretty comfortable with gluing. I have refined my methods of application, and I know just how much glue I need to apply and how much smoothing it needs. So doing all this practice early will allow you to feel much more comfortable when you get to the real thing. Gluing plain paper onto wood is the lowest stakes form of gluing. It is considerably more stressful once you get to your actual embroidery or fabric. So we're working not just in order of operations, but in order of difficulty. Gluing plain paper to wood, then next we will glue plain paper to the lining fabric for the box and glue that in, and then finally we'll get to the point of gluing backing paper to the completed embroidery for the box and then gluing it on, which are the most difficult parts of gluing. Although I do recommend that you practice your fabric gluing before you just go sticking it on your embroidery, because that's just nerve-wracking, but we'll get to that later. Now, I have put glue on this piece, which is evenly applied. I've smoothed it out with my spatula, and I'm going to put it on the box. I'm going to start at this corner. So I'm using the fold to line this up on the box. Smooth down this back overlapping piece. Roll down the bottom and smooth that down. Then I'm going to carefully line up the front. I want to make sure that this top edge here is flush with top. Glue that down. Using the flat of my hand to smooth this out. Folding down the flap, making sure everything's flush at the top, and then rolling the bottom edge down and gluing it. So you can see, smooth, smooth, smooth that out. And then here, I haven't cut very well, so I'm going to take my scissors and just clip that off. So that is perfectly smooth. You can see here, this needs to be pressed down a little bit more. Okay. That's ready. And now I will dry fit and cut the next piece for the remaining two sides. I now have my second large piece of paper, which I'm going to cut down into a long 5-inch wide strip as before. So I have my 5-inch wide piece of long paper, And I'm going to dry fit it to the box as I did before, but since I already have overlapping pieces, this can just sit flush at each edge. I'm going to fold that. Folding here to mark where I'm going to cut. And then I am going to cut this piece down. And now I just have to miter the bottom bits as before so that they fit the box cleanly. This piece has now been cut, dry fitted, and it is ready for gluing. I have applied the glue as before, and now I will apply this piece to the box as I did previously. I'm going to line up at my folded corner, make sure everything's flush on the top edge. Roll down the bottom pieces. And smooth that out. This gives us a box with a fully papered exterior and interior edges, which is now prepped and ready for the interior lining of the box. That concludes today's tutorial, and look out for the gluing and paper backing of the lining.